coming in via Zoom, and it would be impossible to tell the camp story without talking to this wonderful lady. Sheara Billado is on the line with us. She was there right at the very beginning, 36 years ago, Sheara. Can you believe that?
I can. I certainly can. Remember every second of it.
Yeah,
It was 37 years ago that we started actually planning the camp, and the Vermont Division of the American Cancer Society said to me, I'd just been appointed a board member, said, have you ever thought about starting your own camp? And I said, well, what do I know about starting a camp? And so we gathered wonderful people, some parents, some people from the practice, and let me get rid of this. Hang on. Got it. I was trying to mute my phone. I know. And as we, some patients, some of our older patients, we had a 2-year experience in PD oncology at the medical center of sending just a few kids off to camp. They had a 9-hour bus ride to get to camp. And so you can imagine that only the very healthy, the kids that were already cured, were able to go. There were only 4 of them. And they came back so excited, so really changed, that there were a bunch of us that were really anxious to have our own experience with it. And it was actually easy to attract wonderful people because that's what camp does. And they, someone would come on board and then they'd say, well, I know so-and-so who ran a camp. She'd be wonderful. And that was Rose Golden. You may remember Rose.
Sure, yeah.
And and then she brought people with her. And a year later, we started camp with, I think we had 31 kids, as I remember it. And it's been going ever since. It's grown. It's wonderful to see how it has grown to include siblings and parents and holidays and all of the wonderful things, the tennis courts, the bike rides, the pool. It's quite an experience.
It's kind of the ultimate dream that you were thinking of when you first started. It's beyond what you were even able to dream about, isn't it? I mean, having
Absolutely.
Its own facility and everything like that.
Absolutely. We of course rented Camp Holy Cross for a number of years. And wherever you hold camp, of course, it's going to be wonderful because it's camp. It's the camp part that is wonderful, but the facility is just amazing. It affords the campers all kinds of opportunities for fun and for camaraderie and for healing. I used to say to my patients and their parents that the only good thing about having cancer was Camp TaKumTa. And it was the only good thing that comes with it. And it builds from there, and that's true.
If you're just tuning in, we're talking to Sheara Billado, who is one of the core 3 people who started Camp TaKumTa 37 years ago is when the idea was first broached. I mentioned the 3 people who were involved at the very beginning, but I saw that document that you shared with Dennis, which was a piece of paper, which was the founding document of Camp TaKumTa. 37 years ago, you put this proposal together. Talk a little bit about that.
Are you talking about the people involved or the budget or?
Yeah. You had like 20 people who were all together on this document. Just the fact that you found this document.
Right, and I was going through cleaning when you're stuck at home in the pandemic, you clean out drawers, and I found a whole bunch of camp stuff. All of those people were really the founders of camp, the original people, working hard, finding a facility, gathering people that could cook all the meals, and the medical people, and setting up the whole the whole works for getting it started. I consider them all founders, not just those of us that are known as it. And many of them are still involved, certainly in their hearts if they have moved away. But our budget, of course, was much lower.
$13,600 was the budget for the first year.
I know. Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
And, you know, a lot of that is because of the generosity of people. Everything was donated. All of our food was donated. All of our activities, the things we needed for activities were donated. The bands would come in. And so a lot of it was because of the generosity. And the generosity, of course, continues. It's on a different scale.
Yes, that's what makes this whole camp happen, is the generosity. Before I let you go, you were medical director at camp for many, many years. Talk a little bit about the healing that takes place because of camp.
Right. It's quite dramatic, actually. You have a child or a bunch of kids who are diagnosed with cancer, and it changes their life so dramatically. And the focus becomes the cancer in the beginning because it's so horrible and so life disrupting. Camp gives the child back to their normal self. They become children again. Instead of just cancer, they become and grow through the experience of going to camp. Some of the little ones would always be really excited to go for the most part. And we might have some homesick time with them in the first day or so, but then they got right in. But the adolescents were the tough ones, especially adolescent boys, to convince the 16-year-old who has been diagnosed with cancer and his life has been disrupted to go to a summer camp was really a difficult thing. And I was not beneath offering them a bribe to go to camp.
Right.
I would say to them, I will give you, if you don't like camp, what I'd like you to do is try it for 2 days. If at the end of those 2 days, you don't like camp, you do not want to stay, I will give you $20, but I'm betting that you're going to stay.
Right.
And in all the years that I did that, I only lost $20 once.
Wow, that's awesome.
And actually, it's funny. We heard that story yesterday from Rosemary Botten, who was saying that exact thing about her son, Jeff, was that he didn't want to go. And you said, give him 1 day with me. And you knew by the end of that day, we've got him. We've got him. And he's still a big part of camp 20 years later. So, yeah.
Well, Sheara, thank you so much for all that you have done over the last 37 years, all your years as medical director, as board member, as someone who just had the vision, along with a group of other fine people. Thank you so much, and we appreciate what you've done over the years for Camp TaKumTa.
It's been my pleasure.